So I just want to give a quick intro to myself. I am an early career data scientist. Previously, I was lead data scientist at a startup called Spico, which had over 100,000 downloads and got App of the Day in 2021. I have some research experience in applying document embeddings to research abstracts, which is where I got started in understanding natural language processing and other forms of AI. And I'm currently looking for my next opportunity. And what happened was I actually got laid off earlier this year. But when I did, I started learning more about natural language processing technologies and AI and speech recognition on my own. And I ended up entering the Lab AI Hackathon and winning the whole thing. After that point, I realized the power and potential of the modern developments in AI and especially natural language processing, and that gave me a lot of passion and inspiration for it. And today, I'm here to share that with you all, but especially for the non-technical folk. So maybe this is you. You want to use AI, you don't really have technical experience, you just heard about the developments in AI and news stories or things like that. You might not have the time to learn how to code from scratch or to build neural networks to do all that kind of stuff, but you already have some competency in some fields. So maybe you're a marketer, or maybe you create art, or maybe you're very good at business development and identifying business opportunities. So you have some skill set, even if it's a little bit, you have something that you can go off of. My argument today will be that you will be able to leverage AI in order to make yourself better at that skill set or even completely different. So today we're going to focus on different kinds of tools that you can use that will increase your productivity and accelerate your competency in the skill sets that you have with AI. This brings me to my next point, which I will call the hilariously boring thesis of modern AI. Most AI is intended to multiply your existing skill set or to accelerate your existing workflows. And the reason why this is hilariously boring is because it dampens the idea that AI will talk to you and create fantastical new ideas or anything like that. While there are models that will do that and will get close to that or imitate that, we're not at the point where we've achieved like actual intelligence in an artificial AI. What we're actually really good at doing is creating these technologies that will get you 80 to 90% of the way there for some task, like creating something novel or writing something novel. But human intervention is still necessary in order to get to completion of that task. And that part, that idea can be kind of underwhelming or boring, but it is hilarious at the same time because of how much of the work we can actually get done and how close we get to actually completing that task in the first place. So it is not the case that AI will take your jobs. Actually, like Powell said earlier, AI will probably get you to do your job faster in a way that's better for you to focus on the fun parts. Now, I've divided this talk into three sections based on different skills that people might have. And in the spirit of the season, it's going to feel very much like a shopping list for a wish list if you're shopping for somebody for gifts for Christmas. So, first, we're going to start with people who are business oriented. This includes marketers, business professionals, people who work in advertisement or social media. So, if you're making a lot of social media content, and people who are leaders or managers. So, you're presenting a lot, you're in a lot of meetings, you work with a lot of people. You can still benefit from AI, and I'm going to present a bunch of different productivity tools that you can use today in order to get better at these things. The first tool I want to present is Grammarly. It's a very popular tool. It's the friendliest AI editor for your writing. What Grammarly is that it's an extension that you can download and install on your computer and almost all of your devices. It will not only autocorrect, which is something that everyone is very familiar with, but it'll also offer semantic corrections for your writing. So if you want to change the tone of what you're writing from something that's more formal to more friendly, or if you want to reduce uh, you want to change it the other way around, you can do all of these things. One of the things that I've actually used Grammarly for a little while that it could do is that if you have an enterprise or a business, you can actually sync tone across the business with regards to how you refer to your business. So if there's a standard word that you all use to refer to the company, Grammarly will detect that and correct that across the business so you can maintain consistent style, which is actually very interesting. So you're writing a lot of copy and you need some assistance and need some acceleration in editing that copy. Grammarly is one of the best tools that you can use to get started doing that. The second tool I want to present is almost like an improvement or a different sector in content writing. Quillbot is actually a tool that will help you write your content. So not only will it offer some form of autocorrection and some sort of semantic correction, but it'll actually create an environment for you in which you can start writing what you want. You could rephrase things that you've written into more detail or less. You could transfer styles from things that you've written into something that's more creative or something that's more formal, which is really fascinating. And it aims to serve as a sort of co-writer, someone who sits next to you and helps you figure out what you need to do. And I think this is perfect for anybody who might be writing like a really long blog post, but you're not sure what to fill up a certain section with, or maybe you have a set of ideas that you want to go into more detail to, but you need some help thinking about what types of things you describe inside those ideas. Or maybe you're writing a bunch of different marketing copy and you want to make sure that marketing copy has really specific tones for really different audiences. You can use a tool like this in order to do that. Great for people who have to write lots of content and actually need help pushing out that content as fast as possible. Jasper.ai is a really interesting content generation tool that's really just specific toward marketers. So the previous tool, Quillbot, is kind of for anybody who's writing anything, but Jasper is really for people who are making social media, emails, pitches, ad copy, even Instagram captions. This is a problem that I run into a lot. I run my own art page and I hate coming up with Instagram captions. So using Jasper to help figure out what you should actually write is a great way to do that. Recently, Jasper actually incorporated the capability to generate images as well. So if you need to come up with stock quote unquote stock photos for an Instagram post, and you also need to come up with a caption, you can do all of that inside of Jasper using that technology. A fun fact about this app is that it actually works in over 25 languages. So you don't have to be in the US, you don't have to be an English speaker in order to use Jasper. You're able to use this technology using over 25 different languages. So you can accelerate the speed in which you generate this type of copy. But let's say you're not a marketer and you're actually just in a lot of different meetings. Maybe you're higher up in an organization, or you just really like coordinating different kinds of teams. You're going to need a way to keep track of all that information. And what I usually do is I write stuff down, but my handwriting is incredibly messy. So it's almost impossible for me to go back and look at and actually see what I had written down earlier. Otter AI solves this problem by supercharging your meeting notes by creating a transcript of the video call meeting that you're in, but and also creating a natural language summary of the stuff that has happened inside that transcript. So what's nice about Otter.ai is that it actually links in with your calendar. So you can start the app, you can open the application and start your meetings inside the application, and it'll automatically start transcribing. Create a transcript, you can share it to everybody. And of course, because it's a transcript, it's searchable. So if you had a meeting that you talked about something like a month ago, you need to remember it, you can just search all of your transcripts at the same time, get that information back, and suddenly you're not spending time re-listening to recordings of meetings or talking to coworkers to figure out what actually happened. You have all of that information at your fingertips, so you can accomplish what you need to do a lot faster. Of course, maybe it's not the case that you're in the meetings giving the, or maybe it's not the case that you're in the meetings listening, you're in the meetings giving the presentation. So I want to present one more tool that's really close to my heart. It's called Speako. I actually used to work for Speako and I really appreciated and loved the application that we had built. It's an AI public speaking coach in your pocket. So maybe you give a lot of presentations, but you don't really know how you should improve the way you deliver those presentations. Or maybe you say a lot of filler words like or maybe you're working on your intonation and how you vary it. Maybe you sound really monotoned. Sometimes you can hire a speech coach to help you figure those things out, but that can be very
Actually, I think.
very expensive. And in the application for your speaking skills. So, hello?
Yes, there was a 20 seconds lag. So if you could just
Okay.
restart.
Yeah, no problem. I'll start over. So Speako is an application that's designed to improve your public speaking coach. It's kind of like having a public speaking coach in your pocket. So instead of going out and taking classes, you can practice giving presentations using your iPhone, and you can even practice taking lessons and coursework inside of the application. I used to work for Speako, and I loved using the application. And we would get users all the time come back to us telling us how much it improved their public speaking skills and how they can now scale their ability to practice because of all the recordings that they can make inside the application. So highly recommend if you're in a lot of meetings or you have to give a lot of presentations, or maybe even if you're practicing to give your pitch for a Lab hackathon. This last one absolutely surprised me, and I kind of only found this out when I was making my pitch for the Lab AI Hackathon and for this presentation. But Microsoft PowerPoint actually has a lot of AI tools inside of it. Every single formatting thing that I did in this slideshow, I actually used Microsoft Designer for, in which it automatically suggests ways to format the text inside of your PowerPoint, which saves me lots of time because I'm terrible at formatting. And it actually semantically figures out what you're writing. So when I put Microsoft Designer inside of the PowerPoint slide that I was making, it figured out that it might be cool to have a little photo drawing of an artist in order to convey that information. So that's an example of an AI tool that's located inside of a product that most people are familiar with. Now, let's say you're not a marketer or a business person, but you're a creative and you want to use AI tools. So maybe you're a graphic designer, you make lots of content that way, or you're an artist, you paint or create physical content, or you make lots of video. So you're editing videos, you have a background and special effects or something like that. Or you just love taking videos outside, or you're a photographer. Or you create content otherwise, like maybe you like creating podcasts or making presentations or writing some sort of copy that's not necessarily in a business context. You can still use AI to benefit. However, I would really like to bring up an important point that you should proceed with caution, especially with art creation. There's a lot of controversy surrounding using things like Stable Diffusion to specifically generate art and then sell it. So my 3 cents are: one, you should do your diligence whenever you use an AI tool to create art and then sell it. Understand like how that tool is made and what the current issues are using that tool. The second is if you're going to sell stuff with the tool, I would just say to wait and see to see what the legal landscape has declared regarding that process before actually selling. I think it's okay to just make stuff for free right now, but when it comes to selling, you should proceed with a little more caution. And the third thing I would say is to be mindful of any failure modes of the technology or the art that you develop or the things that you develop using these tools. So if there's a way that these things could be very harmful, you should at least have a justification or think about that before using these things. Okay, having said that, let's talk about the tools. The first is the most popular. This is Stability AI's Stable Diffusion. It is a text to image model generator. Need I say more? Everyone on the internet's been making incredible images using this model where you can just go inside the model, type in some prompt, and it'll create art for you. Absolutely fantastic and a good way to hot start a lot of art development. So what some people do is that they actually create their image, write a prompt, and then take that image, edit it, and then have some sort of final image. That way you're getting 80 to 90% to there of whatever workflow you have with your art creation, and then you can just do the remaining 10%, save a bunch of time in order to create the art that you're interested in. The second tool I want to bring up is called Descript. This one is particularly useful if you do a lot of video editing, specifically of people who are talking in video. So if you do a lot of interview videos, or you do a lot of like movies, if you're making your own content where people are doing a lot of conversation, what Descript will do is that it will transcribe all of your audio. It'll arrange it in semantic blocks. So conversation one, conversation two, or point one, point two by timestamp. And then you can attach things to those timestamps and edit them as if they were like slideshows inside of a presentation. It's very interesting. It's very intuitive. And it even has more intelligent AI features on top of that. Descript will automatically remove filler words in any audio that you're using. It will upgrade your sound quality, so it has AI models that will take whatever recording you did with whatever microphone and make it sound like it was recorded in the studio. And it'll even if you forget a word in some recording that you did, and you don't want to retake the whole shot, it will clone your it will seriously clone your voice with you saying that word, insert that word, so you don't have to retake the shot, which I think probably saves so much time for anybody who makes lots of videos. So highly recommend using Descript in order to reduce the workflow with that. Another video editing tool that I think is absolutely wild is called Runway.ml. Runway.ml, in short, lets you warp reality inside your videos and images. So it's a standard video editor. You can do everything that you usually would be able to do, but it has additional features that are powered by Stable Diffusion-like technologies. For example, image inpainting. So if you have some um, image inpainting an infinite image, which is where if you have some image or a shot, you can extend that image and generate like that image boundaries in order to make it bigger or more detailed. One of the most fantastic features that this video editing software has is called erase and replace. My mouth dropped when I saw this, but they have a demo on their website where someone is standing on top of a soccer ball with their foot on top of a soccer ball. And inside Runway ML, you can take a paintbrush, draw over the soccer ball, mask it out, write a prompt for what you should replace the soccer ball with, and it will replace something underneath that foot with a completely different image. So in their demo, they changed an orange soccer ball to a blue soccer ball with a different texture, and it's just absolutely amazing. So instead of having to come up with that yourself, you can use AI and prompting in order to make that process a lot faster. Finally, I want to bring up one more company for the creatives in this list. 12 Labs is a new company. They've just raised a big round, and but even though they're currently in closed beta, the technology that they're developing could be very relevant for a lot of creatives. It allows for a semantic search across your videos. So imagine doing a Google search, but usually when you do a Google search or a YouTube search, it's matching keywords, what you've written, to videos that are coming up. With 12 Labs, they've developed models that can semantically understand your video. So if you're looking for something like, show me two people playing tennis, it will pull out a scene from that video of two people playing tennis. It doesn't require transcription. It semantically understands what's happening in scenes and shows you that information back. This is relevant for content creators because you might have tons of video clips everywhere in some database somewhere, and you want to make that searchable so you can find those clips and make more video content faster. Again, this is in closed beta for now, but I keep my eye on this company because I think it would be super useful. All right. Our last category is for the budding technologists who, yeah, maybe you aren't technical right now, but maybe you're really still curious about getting a little bit of technical expertise and you want to understand what it would look like for you to get started building really soon. What's crazy is that a lot of models and a lot of companies have come up surrounding this fact. They want to empower people who have some coding knowledge. They might not be expert data scientists or MLEs, but they can still do a little bit of coding in order to get to where they need to be. So you might be curious about coding. You might be really good at data collection. So maybe you have a task in mind and you're great at figuring out how to get data for that task, but you're not great at figuring out how to build that model. Or maybe you're very, very good at writing very descriptive entries for things. And maybe you can use that in order to do prompt engineering, which is something I'll explain in just a moment. GitHub, which is a popular code repository website, people store their code on this website, has created something called GitHub Copilot, which is literally like Quillbot, but for writing code. So you can use GitHub Copilot, ask it to generate entire blocks of code for you, and then you can edit the block of code to do whatever you want it to do. And this is great for the budding technologist because you might be learning about how to write certain functions. You can use GitHub Copilot in order for you to learn these things faster. And if GitHub Copilot makes a mistake, then that's a learning opportunity for you to figure out why it went wrong, and you can start using the internet in order to learn how to code things and do things a lot faster. I feel like if I was learning how to code, when I was learning how to code, if I had something like GitHub Copilot, it would make a lot of my pain points a lot easier, and I would be able to get up the speed a lot faster. Something to definitely keep in mind. Cohere is a fantastic company that has basically taken the approach of building natural language models on themselves, and they've created APIs around those models so that you don't have to worry about building those models in the first place. All you have to worry about is figuring out a good use case for those types of models. Two big models that they work on. One is generating text. So this is very much like a GPT style model where you write some prompt or you ask the model to do something and it'll just generate text for you. This is where your prompt engineering skills can come into handy. So if you can think of a clever way for a natural language model to generate text that is useful, you can just mess around with Cohere without making a single line of code and then pass that to your teammates in order for them to build a product off of the prompt that you've generated. Really cool. Highly recommend. And they also sponsored the hackathon that I won. So fair disclosure there. Again, we also have OpenAI, which we talked about earlier. They're behind more language models such as DALL-E and ChatGPT, which is the recent language model that's taking the world by storm, where you can ask it any question and they'll just give you some sort of response. It's a great way for you to mess around and learn about what these models actually do. Once you get some coding experience, you can use Hugging Face. It hosts a bunch of models for you that are pre-trained, so you don't have to worry about learning how to train models. You could even just pull these models down and use them on a downstream task, and it's completely free. So you don't have to worry about paying anybody any money to use these models. As long as you understand how to use them, you'll be good to go. All right, we went through a lot of different tools for a lot of different kinds of people. Want to say thanks for sticking around and learning about these things with me. And I hope that everyone finds a tool on this list that they'd love to learn more about, messes around with it, and I hope that it helps you complete the things that you already do a little bit faster so you can get in on the AI revolution as well. Thanks.